And by the way, can you just give me a quick introduction about yourself? That what is your expectation from this mock interview, and just a few things about you.
Yeah, so my name is Tejasvi, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in computer science at Texas State University. And I have been doing lead code questions in order to improve my coding skills and then the logical ability as well. So I'm expecting, the feedback from you with this mock interview, like how I need to prepare, to what extent I'm able to solve the questions, and how I can improve myself.
Awesome. So let's get started. So I'm going to paste the first problem
Okay.
on the Google Doc. You
Mhm.
should be able to see it right just about now. Just a second. Are you able to see the question?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we are given an array called prices as an input,
Mm-hmm.
and that array represents, so every single value in that array represents the value of that particular the value of that particular how do I say stock on that day, and we give return the maximized profit at the end. So we the simple formula for profit is buy low, sell high, and we'll see that what is the maximum amount of profit we are able to achieve from the given input.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me first read the question in order to get some more clarity. You're given an array prices where prices I of I is the price of a given stock on the ith day. You want to maximize your profit by choosing a single day to buy one stock and choosing a different day in the future to sell that stock. Return the maximum profit you can achieve from this transaction. If you cannot achieve any profit, return zero. Okay. So from the question that I understood, I'll be given an array of prices and then I need to return the maximum profit that I would get when I buy the stock on one day and then I sell it on the other day.
Correct. So see the example below. I have given two examples. First one, you can see that the maximum profit we can make is going to be 5, and we would make that profit if we buy the stock when the price is 1, and when we
And
sell
then
the
sell.
stock when the price is at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the second example, since stock is declining every single day, we cannot make any profit, so we are going to return 0.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the edge case is given in the question that if I'm not able to return the maximum profit, I can return zero.
Correct.
Okay. Um, so can I be given the input ones? I mean, input and output. Okay.
I made a mistake, so that's why it got deleted.
Okay, that's okay. So the index, I mean, uh, the day at which I buy the stock should be less than the day where I sell the stock, right?
Okay, in the second example, it is not at all possible, where
Yeah.
you are actually able to sell the stock at a further day when the stock price is greater. But you have the option to buy at any point, sell at any point.
Okay. Mm. Yeah. So mm, what I would do is I'll start traversing this array first. So I'll consider buying the stock at the 0th index first. And while moving forward, I'll see if this particular price of the stock is greater than the one that I already brought, or it is lesser than the one that I brought. If it is lesser, then I would update my, you know, okay, let me explain it to you this way. I'll take a variable, I'll take two variables. Initially, max profit, and then I'll also take one variable called buy. So initially, my max profit will be integer dot.
Okay, just a quick note here, Tejasvi. Before we start going into deeper into like variables and assigning the values and whatnot, can you just walk through the solution that you are proposing, like in some simple terms, in the layman terms, before we go
Okay.
deeper into? You can just say that yeah, we will have a couple of variables. One is to store profit, the other one is to keep the buy value and update them. And but what is going to be the generic idea?
So the generic idea is that initially I'll buy the stock that is at the zeroth index,
Okay,
and
so
while
say
moving forward,
yeah, so say currently you bought the stock at zeroth index. So
zeroth
currently in
index,
your
which is
buy variable, the value is going to be 7. That
yeah,
you okay. What would happen if so next value currently is that value is 1. So less than the buy value.
yeah. So while moving forward, when I'm at the index one, I'll I'll calculate the profit that I would get from this, and then I'll see if it is the maximum or not. And also, what I would do is I would see if I can buy the stock at this particular index at lesser price than the one that I already bought. If I see here, earlier I have a stock at price 7 rupees, let us suppose, and at this index I can get a stock at 1 rupee itself.
Okay, so currently you mentioned that at the second position you are going to check that what is the profit. So if you already bought at price 1, now
7.
you now in price 7, now you sell it for
If I
price
sell
1,
it at 1, it's gonna be
you will not get any profit.
loss for me. Yeah.
Yes. So now currently your max profit value is going to be, I would say, nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing. It's gonna be less.
You won't, yeah, it would be 0. But now your value is going to
My
be
value
1.
will be 1. Yeah.
Okay. How would this span out in the solution? Can you keep iterating?
Yeah. So moving forward, when I'm at 5, now I'll see if I can sell it first. If I sell it, I'm gonna get a profit of 4. So I'll update max profit as 4. Now again, I'll see if I can buy the stock at this particular point. If the price of the stock at this day is lesser than the one that I already have, I'm gonna buy it. But if I see here, it's greater than the one that I already have. So I'm not gonna update my buy here. And then moving forward, I have 3. So if I sell it at this day, my profit will be 2, and which is lesser than the max profit that I already have. And then here I'll see if I can buy the stock at this particular day. As it is not lesser than the one that I already have, I'm not gonna buy it. So moving forward, I have 6. Now I'll see what profit that I can make at this day. It's gonna be 5, and I'll update max profit because my profit is greater than the one that I already have. So the max profit will be 5. Now I'll see if I can buy the stock at this particular point. I cannot because the price is higher than the one that I already have. Now moving forward, I have 4. So at this point, my profit will be 3, but it is lesser than the maximum profit that I already have. So I'm not going to change the maximum profit. And then here I cannot buy because the price is higher than the one that I already have. So at the end, the maximum profit that I have is 5.
Okay. Is this the most efficient approach you think would be, or can you? Can you feel any issue with this one?
Mm, I don't think there would be any issue with this. This should actually work.
Yeah, I think I also agree that this should work. So can you, yeah, now can you please go ahead and code this method? You can pick any language you want, but if you want, I can give you a starting function
Yeah.
and you can start from there. Which language would you like to proceed and code
Java.
in? Java?
Java.
Sure. So say we create a class called solution, and you would try to, okay, so let's just say you will try to implement this max profit method.
Okay. So first I'll consider the edge cases, like if the prices dot len, I mean the size of the array is zero, or if it is null, I'll be returning zero.
Sure.
If prices dot length is equal to zero, or prices is equal to null, then I would directly return zero. If not, I'm gonna have two variables. One is by. By will be initially zero. I mean, by is pointing to the index, zeroth index.
Don't worry about the syntaxing. Even if it's capitalized, small, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And then int max profit. This will be initially some integer dot underscore value. And then now what I would do is I would traverse the prices array. I is less than prices dot length. And then I press this.
Just a quick question. Why did you started your for loop from I is equal to 1?
Yeah, because I have already brought the, because I'm considering that I've already brought the stock at 0th day. I mean the one at the 0th index.
So where is the value of the stock price at 0th day?
Stock price. Actually, buy is pointing to the index where I brought the stock.
Okay,
So initially, 7 is the point where I brought the stock, right?
okay, okay.
So now, mm, so now what I would do is I would see if I can have maximum profit. This can be zero. So max profit is equal to max dot max of max profit, and then prices of I minus prices of Y. So this way, I can see if I can make maximum profit at this particular index. And I should also see the case where if I can buy the stock at this particular index. So if prices of buy is greater than prices of I, then I would update my buy to I. And then at the end, I would return max profit.
Okay, I think the solution would work. What do you think is the time and space complexity?
So the time complexity for this would be O of n because we are traversing the array only once. And then the space complexity is O of n because we are not using any extra space here.
Sorry, time complexity is going to be O of 1?
O of n, O of
O
n.
of n. Okay, sure.
And space complexity is O of 1 because we are not using any extra space here.
Okay. Just a quick question again. For this one, do you think can you change anything in the code to make it more efficient?
To make it more efficient, mm, you're asking me in terms of code or in terms of the logic?
No, the logic is fine. Just the code. If you cannot find it, that's fine. It's a very small thing, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. We can move to the next question.
Okay.
Yes, and that one is let me just paste the question real quick. Okay, I'll get rid of this, and this is the new question. You can start reading the question and let me know if you have any thoughts, any clarifications that you need.
Okay. So you are a professional robber planning to rob houses along the street. Each house has a certain amount of money stashed. The only constant stopping you from robbing each of them is that adjacent houses have security systems connected with, and it will automatically contact the police if two adjacent houses were broken into on the same line. Given an integer array amounts representing the amount of money of each house, return the maximum amount of money you can rob tonight without alerting the police. Okay. So the question says that I cannot rob the two adjacent houses because it would alert the police. So which means that I can only rob alternate houses. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so for this thing, for each given house, I think there'll be two possibilities where either I can rob that house or I cannot rob that house.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll see if I can make the maximum amount by robbing the house or by not robbing the house. So if I rob the house, I won't be able to rob the next house, and if I don't rob this house, I will be able to rob the next house. Okay, so let me take the example here. So let us suppose I have robbed the first house and I make a profit of 1. So my profit is now 1. And then moving forward to the second house, I won't be able to rob this house. And then again, moving forward, I can rob this house and my profit becomes 4. And moving forward, I cannot rob the next house and we have come to the end of the array. And the profit is 4 for now. But then there is also other possibility where I don't rob the first house and I rob the second house. So my profit becomes two. And then going forward, I won't be able to rob the third house. And then I can rob the fourth house, which makes my profit as three. So the maximum out of these two profits is four. So my profit will be four.
Okay.
Mm. So for this, I think I can use recursion.
And what would be the base case for the recursion? What would be the recurrence relation? And what would be the logic?
Yeah, so the base case would be that if I have reached the end of the array, then I would be returning the minimum value, whatever the minimum value that we have in that particular language. No, I think I can also return zero. I can return zero if I have reached the end of the array.
Correct.
Yeah. And that would be the base case. And then coming to the actual code. So if I'm robbing this particular house, what I would do is I would uh, I would take this profit two plus. I mean, if we consider this case one, two, three, and one. If I'm robbing the first house, I will add the profit at this particular index, which is one plus, and then I'll go ahead with the recursive function by uh, updating the index to the next index. And I'll also maintain a flag here saying that I have robbed the earlier house.
Okay. Can you run that on any one of the examples?
Um, okay, so you want me to write the code first and
Not
then.
not not just. I just want to understand the logic. Can you try to see that how would your logic work for the second problem? So currently, for the second example, we have the values 2, 7, 9, 3, and 1. You are suggesting to have a recursive function where for every single index you are going to call, and you will try to see that whether you can rob that house or not. If you
Yeah.
rob that house, then you will set the flag that I have already robbed the house for the next recursive call. Yes. So say you okay, so you are at the first index, you are at the value 2. What would your recursive function would receive? And because currently, are you going to rob that first house or not rob that first house?
Yeah, there'll be two cases where I'll be robbing and then not robbing. So if I rob it, two plus,
Okay,
and
so
then
in the first scenario, it's going to be 2 plus 9 plus 1.
yeah,
And in the second call, it would be 7 plus
one
3.
plus three. Yeah.
And basically, you are simply going through the array in like odd numbers and even numbers, calculating the total amount and returning which one yields the maximum profit. Is that the idea?
Um, just wanted to make sure, like, if the array has negative numbers.
No, there would not be any negative numbers.
Okay.
Each house would have either zero money or something in the positive amount of money.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So that can be one of the possibilities. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Do you think that would be the solution, or does anything else comes to your mind as well?
I think there will be some loophole with, adding the profits that are at even indexes and then adding the profits that are at odd indexes. Mm. As array has only positive integers,
Yes.
this should work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me give you one more example. Suppose we are given an input that looks like this. The value is 8. Let's just say 1, 2, and 3. What
Mhm.
would be the maximum profit in this case based on your solution?
Okay. Okay. So in this question, um, yeah, I'm getting it here. The maximum profit is 11, and we are robbing the first house. We are not robbing the next two houses, and we are robbing the last one. That is how we are making the maximum profit here. So
Yes.
if we take this example, then our previous approach is not gonna work. Mhm. Yeah. So as per what I said earlier, at every house will have two options, either robbing it or not robbing it. It's not so obvious that just because you didn't rob the previous house, you should rob this particular house. You can skip it as well in order to make the maximum profit.
Agreed.
So, so whenever we see multiple possibilities happening, we can use recursion for that. We are forming a tree kind of tree here.
Okay.
So for this, we can use recursion just because it has multiple possibilities and we are forming a tree kind of structure here. I think we can use recursion.
Sure.
So
So, what would be the recursive approach in this case?
the recursive approach in this case will be that yeah. So the base case would be that if I reach the end of the array, I would be returning zero as the maximum profit. And if not, at every index, at every house, I'll have two options. Either I rob it or I don't rob it. So at every index, I take maximum of these two options that I have, and then
Okay.
I return it.
Cool. So, are you confident with your approach, or you want to put any more thought to it? If you are confident, we can go ahead with the coding.
Um, I'm confident about that it should work.
Okay. What would be the time and space complexity for this approach?
Um, so the time complexity for this approach would be O of n, and then the space complexity would also be O of n because for recursion we internally use a stack, and if we don't consider the stack being the extra space, it would be O of 1.
Sure. So, I think we let's start coding and then we will have more idea.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the function you should try to implement. uh, basically we need to return the maximum value possible, or an integer value, and as an input we are given the nums array that represents the money in the houses.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So here what I would do is I would take help of a helper function. Mm, helper function with nums and then 0. 0 being the current index. We can drop int index. So the base condition will be that if my index is greater than or equal to nums dot length, then I would simply return 0. And if not, I'll have two cases where I'm robbing the current house and I'm not robbing the current house. So int rob is equal to nums of index plus rob of nums and then index plus 1. So this index plus 1 would help us to move forward in the nums array. Int no rob is just moving forward without making any profit because we are not robbing the source. And then we return maximum of rob and no rob. Mm, but how am I making sure that I have robbed the previous house? So I shouldn't rob this house. Mm, yeah, so if I'm robbing it, it should be index plus 2 and not index plus 1. And when I'm not robbing, it should be index plus 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Parth, do you think this would work? Or
So where are you storing the value basically? You are returning at every single position that what is the maximum value you can achieve, but the maximum value is going to be sum of all the paths that you choose. So you will need to find a you
yeah,
if
I'm doing it here. Nums of index.
nums of index plus rob. Oh, you are calling the method. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't. My apologies. I didn't pay attention.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of this, I think I'm good. This one looks good. And also from the main method, you are simply making the recursive call. So the solution should work fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see how much time we still have. We still have 10 more minutes. You
Mm-hmm.
want to try the third question?
Oh, yes, yes, but
Okay, let's. I had planned a little bit more complex problem, but let's just try with a simpler problem.
okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is statement is quite simple.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose we are given a singly linked list,
Mm-hmm.
and for the singly linked list, we need to determine that whether it contains a cycle or not. And you know the concept of singly linked list, that one value points to the next value, and you only know after you are basically at that value. You cannot know in advance that how many elements are there, or what is going to be the next element, and we are only given the root of the singly linked list, nothing more than that.
Okay.
And in this example, suppose we are given a singly linked list like this, and this 4 is pointing towards the value null. If that is the case, we cannot find any issues, and there is no cycle detected. But say, for an example, this 4 somehow points back to this value number 1. So let me try to see if I can use a pen to draw over here. But if not, okay, suppose this 4 again points back. Uh, suppose this 4 points back like, okay, suppose this 4 again points back to, let's say, value number 2 is, and need to determine, okay, or it points back to value number 3. Okay, it's tough to type here, but you get the idea. In this case, we can see that there is a cycle, otherwise there isn't a cycle. So what would be the approach?
So, from the question that I understand, if I see the node that I have already traversed, then at that point I would say that there's a cycle in this linked list. If I reach null, then I would say that there's no cycle in this linked list. So if I have to keep track of some kind of repetition, I would make use of a set. So here the set would be of type node because we are storing the addresses in the set. And when I start from the root node, I keep checking if this particular node is already in the set. So initially when I'm at 1, this particular node is not in the set. So I would insert it. Now coming to 2, this is not there, I would insert it. 3 is not there, I would insert it. 4 is not there, I would insert it. And then coming to 2 again from 4, I can see that this particular node address is already there in the set. So at this point, I would say that there's a cycle in the linked list.
Okay, cool. So what would be the time and space complexity for this approach?
So as we are traversing the linked list only once, the time complexity would be O of n, where n is the length of the linked list. And the space complexity is also O of n because we are making use of a hash set to store the addresses of the nodes.
So I think this solution would work just fine, but
Mhm.
is it possible to implement the solution in the space complexity of O of 1 as well? So without using any extra hash set.
Mhm. Mm. Any hint that I can get?
So suppose you are running in a park, and it's a circular track,
Mhm.
and you are running at 10 miles an hour, and
Mhm.
there is an adjacent person who runs 20 miles an hour. What would happen eventually?
Okay, so
Suppose you both started at the same position.
mhm,
After maybe one runs, two runs, what would happen eventually?
they would meet at some point.
They would be able to overtake you, and they would able they so basically they would meet at some point,
Yeah.
right? Now suppose rather than this track being as a circular track, if this were to be a straight track,
Mm-hmm.
what would happen in that case?
They wouldn't meet at any point.
They would be able to reach to the end of the track before you, and they
Yeah.
should be. So see if we can apply the same logic in this linked list example or not.
Mm. I think I can make use of slow and then fast pointer here. So the slow pointer would be moving one node at a time, and then the fast pointer would be moving two nodes forward at a time. So while this thing is happening, if at any point my fast pointer is equal to null, then I would say that there's no cycle in this linked list. And if at a point where my slow and fast pointers are equal, I would say that there is a cycle in the linked list.
Correct.
So for this, the time complexity would be O of n, and then the space complexity would be O of 1.
Correct. Yeah, I think that would be the obvious solution. So we have 4 minutes. Would you try to implement the solution?
Yeah, yeah, sure, but
Yeah, basically we are just creating a method where we need to return true or false, and in the input we are given the root of a singly linked list. So you can just start coding the method by default. Just remember you need to return a boolean value.
is cycle and then I'll be given a root node. So coming to the base case, if my root is already equal to null, I would return false saying that there is no cycle in the linked list, obviously. And if not, I would maintain two pointers. One is slow, and then the other one would be fast. Both would be pointing to the same point initially. And I would mm, yeah. So while my slow is not equal to fast, yeah, so initially it fails. Okay. One, two. My slow would be moving one point forward, and then fast would be moving two pointers forward. If my fast is equal to null at any point, then I would return false. Uh, I'll start my fast with root dot next because we are looking for the condition where slow is equal to fast. We have the cycle there. So in order to meet that condition, I would point slow to root and then fast to root dot next. Slow and root fast. And if my fast is equal to null, I would return false. If flow is equal to fast, I would return true. I think this should work on.
I think this should work. There is a small thing maybe you can just put down, right? You in the first condition you can also check for like if fast is equal to null or fast dot next is equal to null. If you put both the conditions, the the application would be like a little bit faster. But I think you did good. Uh, I'm satisfied with with all the solutions.
Mhm.
So and you also completed in time. So I think you are decently prepared. I don't know why you lack so much confidence. If you just put like enough emphasis and try to be more confident, you have a good understanding of basically data structures. And uh, since you are at the beginner level, you are already well prepared to get the job. And try like don't lack so much confidence, I would just say.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing I would like to suggest you is you can stop sharing your screen, by the way. Yeah, so one more thing I would like to suggest you is when you are explaining the solution, try to write it down on the Google Doc or try to explain it with some pictorial way as well, because that would be easier for you, not for the interviewer, but you would be able to make stronger connections immediately rather than thinking everything in your head, because it's pretty easy to miss out some possible combinations that you couldn't think of. But if you try to just draw it down or jot it down, things would come much
Much
more
nice.
naturally to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. uh, Anything else that you feel like or do you have any opinion on how I did? Because this was also one of very first mock interviews that I have done in the recent times, so that's why I was also a little bit nervous.
Okay. Yeah, you have been a good interviewer, like helping me whenever I got stuck. I feel that that's the main quality of an interviewer. Interviewer should be able to give a hint or help the interviewee whenever he or she gets stuck somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, sure. So I guess when we spoke, you also mentioned about the LinkedIn. So
Hmm.
you want to go through that? We can just review it together, or if you have something else to do, we can find some other time probably.
Um, Can we find some other time part?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sure, no worries. So thank you so much. And I would see if I feel like I would post it on YouTube, but I'll let you know beforehand that if I'm going to do it. I still haven't decided. I'll see the recording and then decide.
Okay.
But if I do, I'll ask for your permission first and also show you the thumbnail, and the recording is going to be almost unedited because I don't want to have anything like uh filtered out. I want to show that what actual interview happens like and what are the things people can leverage from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I can feel that I'm failing at expressing my thought process.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that if you write it down, if you walk through the example, it would be much easier to express yourself. If you just think in your head and try to come up with the answer, then it's pretty easy to get confused, and it would be confusing for you and also for the interviewer sometime. It could cost you your dream job basically. So
Okay.
doing better will only help you further.
Okay. So you want me to write the algorithm first before?
I mean, not the full algorithm, but
Mhm.
even when you're walking through the example, when you
Mhm.
are walking through, so suppose for a particular example, the second example we had, the house robber question,
Yeah.
where you are going through odd even houses. If you had just put it on the piece of paper and done, okay, so if I rob first house, what would happen? If I rob second house, what would happen? Your idea was correct that at every single position you will have to make a decision tree. Even for the decision tree, if you had wrote it down, things would become much more smoother for you to come up with the recursive algorithm or to think about all the edge case scenarios. So let's say you are given like five values. You put, okay, from the first value I have two options, either rob it or not rob it. If I rob it, what would happen? If I not rob it, what would happen? Second value, again I have two options based on the previous robbed values. And if you just show that, your whole the the whole thinking process is going to be much more smoother, and you would be able to come up with a solution faster in the actual interview.
Okay. But then when I'm given such editors like the one that you gave me, I don't think I'd be able to draw all of those possibilities.
It's yeah, exactly. It is a little bit tricky on Google Docs, but for that, what you can do is rather than pointing out all the lines, you can just draw a simple pyramid where the first value is like located at value number 8, something like that. And the next line, you just put like some indentation or use the tab function to have like to create a hierarchical structure
Oh,
and see
got it.
that, okay, these are the two possibilities here.
Yeah.
You if you are interviewing for Google, they are definitely going to use Google Docs. They intentionally do that because they know that this is not the most expressive editor, and they want to see that how quickly you can adapt to it.
Okay.
So that's why I intentionally chose Google Docs to see that though it can get tricky, if you are able to come up with the solution in even in that, that shows that you can overcome these minute things.
Okay, but uh, how about using a whiteboard during the interview
Yeah,
to
of course you can do that.
Okay.
There is no there are no actually. If you do that, if you just say that, hey, I actually wants to express and this is a better way I can do it, they would
Mm-hmm.
actually like it even more, because that shows that not only you are thinking about the solution, you are also thinking about making the process smooth for your expressiveness. So because in one of my previous interviews I have actually done that, and the interviewer really appreciated it because I actually popped out my iPad and I
Mm-hmm.
just showed it that, okay, I started drawing all of these things. The typical video I make on YouTube, I did that in an
Okay.
actual interview, and the interviewer was really impressed by that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So, how do I also improve my thought process? I mean, expressing the thought process rather than just, uh, writing down and all of that.
I guess you can practice lead code on your own. You seem to have good idea about data structure and algorithm problems, that I can
Mm-hmm.
tell. But this part can only come up with the practice. So I would say that have a buddy or someone in your college, university, your roommate, anyone who is also looking for a job. uh,
Mm-hmm.
you both keep on doing this mock interview exercise with each other. That would be really helpful. There are also some boards on Reddit and also Discord where you can join, and they actually have like mock interview buddies that you can find online, so you can also try there. Practice is going to help you with this process. How many mock interviews have you done before?
No, Parda, I haven't done any mock interview.
Yes, exactly. Like do five, and then you will see in the sixth interview, you by yourself will see the change. Because uh, doing with a buddy is going to allow you to see perspective from an interviewer's point of view as well. Because you
Mm-hmm.
would be interviewing them and you would be able to see that, hey, why this person is taking such a long pause over here, or why he or she not thinking in this manner and whatnot. So that is going to help you improve.
Got it, Parda.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the
Oh,
feedback
no,
as well.
of course, it was a good experience on my part as well. So have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Good night. Thank you.